Good evening, trainees, to another session of this wonderful training. We have gone a very long way in this training so far, and a lot um, has been done. We have actually, I've actually taught you so much that by now it is expected that you should have the profundity and the proficiency in most of the aspects that we have treated here. And like I have said, that for those of you who have been putting all that has been taught to practice, will find it very easy to actually do the work, because journalism is a practical work. Even as it is being taught theoretically, the success of it depends on how the practical is being exhibited, is being done, because you need to know how to communicate effectively, you need to know how to write news, you need to know how to handle camera, you need to know how to edit videos, you need to know how to use photographs effectively in storytelling. You need to know when interviews should be conducted, the people that should be interviewed in any given situation, and then how the interview should be arranged, and then the research that is being required in news gathering process. So it is very essential that all these be put to practice, like I have said before. Unless you keep on practicing what you learn here, you will be left behind, because this is a practical um, session. This is a practical training. That's what you learn, you put to practice. What you learn, you put to practice, so that you get used to everything. I'm still appealing to all of you to revisit all that has been done here so far, and be ready to do the needful. If you haven't started doing the needful, then you can start doing the needful, so that you can all be on the trajectory to professionalism in journalism. Today, like I posted on the group, I will be taking you through how multiple stories can be obtained, can be made in a single event. A single event can give you different story angles. When people go to event, they go to ceremonies, they go to occasions. At times, they focus on just one aspect of the story, in which there are many aspects that can make a story. Some reporters go to an occasion or an event, and they try to get unique stories there that other reporters or journalists at the venue never captured. So today I will be taking you through how to spot different stories in one event, and then be able to write your story from different story angles by exploring the ways of obtaining um, them when an event is being held. When you prepare yourself to go out there to do any media, any coverage of any event, the first thing is, what are you actually going there to do? What is the purpose of the event? What are you actually going to cover? Now, in going there to cover the event, they may decide attractions. There may be other issues that might occur in the process that would form a new story. And that is the reason reporters are always advised to be at the venue of any occasion as early as possible. It is very important to take note of that and always be at any event as early as possible. The reason being that there may be some incidents that might occur, maybe some situations that might occur that may be out of the event that you actually went for. And the fact that you went there early enough before the time, if an event is to commence by 12, um, 12 p.m. or 11 a.m., you're supposed to be there 30 minutes to time. That is the best time a reporter should be at the venue of any event, 30 minutes to the time, or at most 15 minutes to the time. This will help you to test. As you go there, you start retesting. Maybe before you took off from your base or station to the venue, you have tested your equipment. You have tried to see if the mic is working, if the cameras are okay, if the batteries are okay, and all that. So by the time you go early to an event, and anything can happen, electronics can at times disappoint. You can take off and they will be okay. By the time you reach your destination, then they will start developing a fault. So because you checked the equipment or the tools or the instruments before you took off and discovered that they were okay, that doesn't mean you won't try to see or try to test them again when you get to the venue of the occasion. What is required to be done is as soon as you arrive, once you arrive early enough and there is any problem, you still have time to get a replacement, you still have time to make contact, you still have time to look for a solution, or you still have time to improvise. If what you actually brought could not could not actually be of service, then you can improvise. Maybe you took a conventional camera, HD camera, and then you couldn't actually get any the camera started developing for, and then you felt disappointed because you actually did not go there on time, and by the time the fault developed was when the occasion had already begun, and then you could not do anything other than miss out of that vital event or important event. So that is the importance of being to an event very early. It helps you to still check your equipment, still check your tools to ensure that they are okay, they are in a good they are in a good state to be used before the event commences. So that will enable you to make any adjustment or to be able to improvise. Improvisation is using something that is similar to what you earlier intended to use. Maybe you never wanted to use a phone for the coverage. You took a HD a camera, and then the camera developed a fault. So the only way to improvise is to use a good handset that has good lenses and has a good pixels and resolution. So you can now use that in place of the HD, at least to get shots that you can make use of. Or maybe your tripod disappointed. So what alternative can you do? Maybe you can look for something that can hold your camera or you can look for a way to position it so that it won't be shaking and will give you still visuals. So being there early is very important so that you can be able to get these things and put them to in the right position so that it will not um disappoint you during the production, during the coverage. So you need to actually be there on time, retest your tools, equipment, or instrument, and then you can now start. In the process of, like, by the time you might have gone to the place, maybe guests are arriving, the event, and then a prominent person that wasn't expected to be there arrived. You can get a story from there, or maybe someone just came in and left before the event started. When events are set to commence like that, there are certain persons who might just troop in to see certain persons or to give condolences or goodwill messages. But they didn't come at the time the event started. Maybe they came earlier and actually did whatever they wanted. And if you are there, you would be able to get a story, a unique story there of such a prominent figure that other media platforms may not have because they didn't go there on time. So there are a lot of things that happen before an event takes place. So you can be able to get stories from there. You can be able to get stories from there. Maybe it is a reception in honor of a prominent person or a politician or a clergy, and you are there early enough, and some persons came early enough just to pass and extend their goodwill messages, while the event comment didn't comment yet. So you can be able to capture that and put it as part of the story. Then by the time the event starts, there are different events. We have political events, we have social events, you have religious events, and all there are many events. Now there are personalities. A celebrant may invite high class people to attend such an event. Maybe a political appointee invites the governor, and then other top high-ranking politicians who also attended the event. And the story actually is to capture the celebrant's occasion. Now, in that occasion, maybe the governor attended, or the vice president attended, and some members of House of Representatives or members of the National Assembly attended, and others. Now, in gathering or in covering the news, you can get story angle from the side of the celebrant. You can get a story angle from the side of the vice president. You can get a story from the side of the governor, and then from the part of the National Assembly members. So in such an occasion, you can get diverse story so that from there it can be a selection. Maybe you obtain a story of the speech of the governor, what the governor said, and how he acted and how he instructed and did that. You got the visuals and the other supporting shots, and then you obtain that of the vice president separately, and then you obtain that of the celebrant. There are situations where there are unique activities that would happen, and then a story can be governor earlier, advises political appointees to ensure effective um, service delivery and supervision of duties in their respective uh, offices or ministries, parastatals, agencies. Now, in that, you can get a story line of that angle. And then maybe the vice president commends, uh, commends the appointees for their support to the governor. That is a story of its own. And then you can now say what the vice president, you can now write about what the vice president said in relation to the political appointee and other appointees, how they are encouraged to do the needful in order to ensure that they take the dividends of democracy to the grassroots. And then maybe members of the National Assembly uh, spoke, some members spoke, and said one or two things prominent. Our members can get a story. Maybe Ibrahim, Senator Ibrahim supports uh, the work of the person with a bus, or that to contribute for effective um, service delivery to the people. So there are many activities that would happen in just a single event that you can get stories from those angles. You can get stories from those angles and form uh, your story. Or from the stories, you can pick the most important out of the five stories in the event. You understand? So you can do that and be able to obtain them from different angles. So that is what, in the event, different speeches made from different people. It must not all be in uh, in one story. You can still put them separately. Now the issue is this: when a story is being put separately like that, you will give details of what was said. You'll be able to give details of what was said by the person. But if you are going to put everything in one a report, one story, you will not be able to say everything. You'll not be able to review everything that was said, because, like I said in previous session, each story has time limit. So you cannot bring up a story that will be 7 to 8 minutes. No, so you need to bring the shots in such a way that it will fall within the time required of that story to make up the bulletin for the day, or the particular story. I mean, the particular news time. Maybe the news is 8 or 7 o'clock news, 9 o'clock news, and the bulletin is to be for 1 hour. And in the 1 hour, then there will be minutes for advertisement. So it won't be completely 1 hour. So how many minutes should a story contain? How many stories form the bulletin? How many minutes will be there for advert? How many minutes should each story contain? So all this thing happens during the post-production period. So that is the reason you see editing is done, shots are cut, it's been edited, and the story is being compressed, edited to fall within the time. It's going to be 3 minutes or 2 minutes and some seconds to be edited to fall within that time frame. So when you want to include what all these people say, the Senate members or the members of the National Assembly, the Vice President, the Governor, and then the celebrant, the political appointee that organized the event, in which the event was organized in his honor, is there, and then you want to put everything together. You will not be able to give details of the speeches by these people. You can just say, meanwhile, in the event, this person said this, that, and that's all. Maybe just a brief shot, and then you stop. And so it won't give, by the time you want to include everything, you'll discover that a lot will be left out because it can be included, but a lot will be left out. So when you want to form stories to cover a wide range, then you can now put them, treat them separately, and then you now put the story. Now, the issue about story angles is that they help to cover every aspect, because as you are there, a lot of events are happening. People talk. This person will come and talk. Some persons will go to an event and give a speech of about 30 minutes or 15 minutes, and there will be a lot of things to get from that speech and make a story. And then after that speech, um, separate interviews are also being done. By the time the person presents the speech, then you go and interview the person about the presentation, about what the person feels, and then the advice the person has for the youth or women or other politicians. Then you interview the governor too, and then others, the vice president, and others who might be there. If you take time and observe how events are being covered, you will realize that apart from the speech or speeches that are presented by guests, you discover that there are some guests that after the event, they are being interviewed. They are being interviewed to speak on certain issues. Maybe the reporters would ask them questions that they couldn't ask during that kind of presentation. So they will ask questions about the solutions or what could be done in a situation where one or two things are left out, and then you get responses where the guest don't want to answer. They will shy away from the question. Then they will tell you no comment. Some will tell you that's all they can say. And then when you ask certain questions, they will say they are not in the position to answer that. So there are various ways some of these people may avoid certain questions because of the sensitivity of those questions, especially when it has to do with issues of insecurity and financial misappropriation. So these are issues that are very sensitive, because when you accuse someone of financial misconduct or misappropriation and you talk without having your facts ready, then you may land yourself in trouble. Or the issue of insecurity. The security personnel are the best people to give you any information about that. And you can't expect those fighting the insecurity to tell you the tactics they have employed in trying to tackle that. They won't be telling if they talk on screen. They were exposing. Uh, it's like they are exposing their tactics to the enemy. So there are certain things that cannot be said even when reporters ask questions in regard to such things. So once an event is being organized, uh, reporters should ensure that they are there on time. That is the reason you are here to get this. Always do your best not to be going late to events. This practice should not just be for the sake of your profession, for the sake of journalism. It is good to be a timekeeper. And by being a timekeeper, it means if you can't go before that time, you shouldn't go late. When an event is to start, is to commence by 10. The 10 a.m. that is written on the program or is being broadcast is not the takeoff time from your house. It's not the time you will start taking your bed to go to the event. Some persons will wait once it is 10. That is when they will get into the bedroom and start taking their shower. That's when they will start preparing. But the program states that it starts by 10 a.m. It didn't say takeoff time from various destinations 10 a.m. That is when the program is actually supposed to start. It's because of the non-adherence to time that a lot of persons talk about African time. When an event is to commence by 10, some persons will say that way that 10 it will not start. It's going to start by 11. There will be African time. So some persons would deliberately delay. Some persons will not be serious with keeping to time because they will tell you it's African time. People, Nigerians, stick to African time. A program of 10 will be commencing by 11 or 12 because people will not even be there. But the issue of African time should not be a character of journalists. Journalists are not supposed to believe in that philosophy of African time. They should always be there on time at all times. Reporters are not supposed to be going to an event late. I'm still emphasizing this because by the time an event already starts and then already started, by the time an event already started and then you went there late, I mean, how will you be able to get any information that will flow because you have missed a lot out. You didn't start the coverage from the beginning because you went there late. And by the time you started covering the event, the major speeches were already delivered, or the introduction was already done. You couldn't get the shots from the beginning, and then you have to depend on the shots or the visuals of some of your colleagues that were there on time to get the story. That would actually be a sign of unprofessionalism. It will show that you are not serious with your work. That is, you don't even know what you're doing, and then other persons will be looking at you as someone who should not even be working for such a media organization. I'm always emphasizing the issue of timekeeping to event because I um, have been practicing journalism for the past 15 years, and I know what it means by not going to an event on time. I normally ensure I get to the venue the 15 or 30 minutes the time. If an event is to start by 10 times, I'll be there. I will take off. You normally have to know your distance. The distance from the place you are to the venue is how far is the distance? Is it 1 kilometer? Is it two? So the distance from where you are to the venue will determine when you should take off. Because there are some places that if an event is to start by 10, in order to be there on time, you need to take off by 7 a.m. or by 8 a.m. to get there before that 10, depending on where you stay. Is it a place where there's too much traffic? So if there's too much traffic, what can you do to beat traffic? If you're staying in a place that is far from the venue, when are you supposed to take off? That will make you meet up. So the reason it's important to take off to events early is because of the because of uncertainties that might happen, the unknown. Well, then if you take off early and the car breaks down or there's any issue, you still have time to fix before the event starts. So there are numerous advantages for taking off early to events as reporters. Just like I've stated, other advantages. Another is in case of any uncertainty. If anything goes wrong with the automobile, you still have time to look for another one. You still have time to board another vehicle. You still have time to make calls and see what can be done. But when you take off just few minutes to the time and anything goes wrong, you won't have the allowance to actually rectify to fix the problem before the time for the program commences. Before the program commences, so you need to ensure that timekeeping becomes a habit, so that you always be punctual, you always be early to event. Now, um, obtaining stories, multiple stories from a single event is um, is something that when you go to an event, you record as much actions, as much speeches as possible. It is expected that that should be done, and the recordings will ensure the coverage will give you varieties of shots, so that by the time you are editing, by the time you are editing, you will have a wide range to choose from, a wide range to work with. You will have a lot to see how you can get your stories, how you can make your stories, the multiple stories you want to derive, how you can make the stories. So you need to ensure that your device has the capacity of recording a lot of motions, recording a lot of actions, covering a lot of activities. You know, there are some devices that they have a limit that once it reaches, there are some devices that there is a limit that once that limit reaches, it can't be able to accommodate any information, any visuals. So you must ensure that for every event you're preparing to attend to cover, you should ensure that there is enough space in your memory card, in your phone. You know, phones, some phones have inbuilt memories, and then they still have external spaces for memory cards. So you will understand the nature of your phone. You will know the capacity, to what level can it record, and what is the capacity, so that you will do away with some uh, uh, unwanted videos or applications or things you store in your phone that you know that are no more needed. You delete them and free your phone to have enough space. You know, one of the most disappointing thing to happen is when you are covering an important event and your phone has a memory issue. You know, the memory is filled up, and then you see memory full, and then you cannot, it cannot accommodate and store anything again. By the time you pause to delete certain information or certain short videos or audio or apps to free your phone and make it to have space, by the time you might have done that, the speech might have been completed, or some actions might have been taken that you will miss out. And you know, reporters at that point, everybody will be rushing to go and cover, I mean, to go and work on the story and meet deadline. So most of them may not have the time to even give you any shot. And there is competition in media. Every platform wants to be the best. Every media organization wants to be the best, wants to be the most viewed, the most cherished, want to be the most accepted by the audience. So some of the reporters working in such media organization would not want to share any information they have in any event with any reporter who fails to get what they actually needed to have obtained. So you need to be um, always on alert so that you will be able to capture everything. And that begins with ensuring that your device is in order, ensuring that your equipment is in order, ensuring that whatever you want to use is in order. The issue of space, memory in your device or phone is very essential, something that should not be taken for granted. I once experienced this challenge. That is the reason I'm really emphasizing this. During my beginning days, my um, learning on field days, you learn on the job. So I began practicing television journalism, and have to use my I had a camcorder. Then it wasn't a handset. I had to use a camcorder, small camcorder to do that, and the memory card had a lot of videos that I didn't take note, that the space wasn't enough. So I went on feed, and so I was doing the coverage. I realized that it couldn't store more of that. I had to pause. And by the time I tried to look for another memory card, because I didn't know if the visuals in the memory would still be needed. So it was in the memory card would still be needed. So I was not in the position to actually delete anything, because it didn't occur to me to take note of that before the event. So if I had known, I would have actually asked questions, and because it wasn't my camera, so I didn't have that freedom to delete anything. So that was how I missed out of that. I couldn't get the event the way it would have been. So the whole story was not reported. So it is something that should not happen to any of you. You should ensure that mistakes like that are not made. If you are going to use any device that is not yours, you ensure that you check the space. Would the space be able to contain the information we need? How long is the event expected to last? So you'll be able to get your shot. And then there should be need for space too. If the an event is covered and there is no allowance, there's no space, it will slow down the device, to make the device not to work very fast. So you need to have enough space so that no matter how you cover the event, there will still be space to give it the allowance to actually operate well, so that the device will not have some hitches associated with lack of space in the memory card or the memory part. So it is important to take note of these, so that you won't make the mistake, because there are certain events that are very important, and if your media organization doesn't report such an event, it will be as if they don't know what the media organization doesn't know what it's up to. So you cannot just leave that. And then if you happen to use any visuals from another station, then there will be a credit. You have to give credit to that. Maybe it's from NTA showing on your station. So the sign of NTA, the logo of NTA will be there, or maybe channels will be there, and to give credit, indicating that you are not the original owner of that report, not the original owner. You're just monitoring it from a different station, or you obtain the videos from a different station to report. And if that continues or is consistent thing, it will show unprofessionalism on the side of the station. That can the station gets their original shots? Must they at all the time obtain visuals from other stations to make up their story? So it appears as if the reporters are employed doing nothing. So you must ensure that you don't allow such mistakes to happen. So get ready, assess your device. In some situations, in media organizations that are very very organized and have enough money to get many equipment, many tools, there will be a backup camera or a backup device. If in case this one fails, will fall back on the other. So some media organizations that have the financial clout to do their work effectively always prepare for any uncertainty, so that if the device they take doesn't work or start developing problem, they will have another to use immediately, so that it won't be the issue of uh, uh, bringing the coverage to a stop because of the fault developed in the initial equipment being used. So it is important to take note of this, so that an event that is being organized can be covered uh, very well, because the multiple stories that would be obtained can only be possible if you have the space to accommodate much of the happenings at the event. Where the space is not enough, you will not be able to get all the information that will be needed to form the story. It's during editing that you will watch which person do you want to which person do you want to use for a particular story. You watch where you capture the shot, you capture the person sitting or standing, you cut. You go to where the person presented their speech, you cut. You go to where the interview was made, you go to where you interviewed the person, you cut, and then you do your a voice over, and then or your narration, then you know how to merge the shot and form the story for that particular personality. And then you watch others again, you see where they appear, what they say, you cut, you take note of the frames, you cut, after that you merge, you do your narration, you form a story like that. So that is the reason I say you must have enough space to be able to do that. In getting multiple stories in this regard, it's not something that you have multiple cameras to focus from different angles to get stories. No, that is not how getting multiple stories from different angles. That's not how it's done. You can get the story from different people, personalities, and then event. Maybe during the event, an unexpected benefactor came and donated millions of naira. That can also form a story. We can also put Dangote donates 100 million uh, to orphans in the particular area. Maybe Dangote decided to attend such an event and donated that. That forms a story on its own. You can do that and then write the story. That is how this thing works. You get the stories and then you put it as a personality where he spoke, and then visuals of his arrival, greeting dignitaries, personalities, and where he spoke the speech, the donation made, and then make the interview and other things. That would be a story of its own. And then you can now have a story from different angles. That is what saying that you ensure that your device, your recording device, is very, very sound and has enough space so that you will be able to get all that is required, except if your story is focused on one angle. You know, when you go to an event and your story just focused on a particular person, maybe it's the governor, your story is focused on the governor. You just get the governor seated, maybe just get cutaways of other dignitaries briefly, and then you just get the speech of the governor, and then the interview of the governor, and maybe that of just one person, and the story is done. So in that situation, you know that you just have a focus on one person. But where other personalities are there too, you may want to have an in-depth story. You know, there's events where when personality attends, when you watch certain events, you see the governor would be at the event. You see the vice president is there, and some of the personalities are there. You will see a single report where you just get the shot of them talking, but it will be very brief. Person will just say one or two lines and it's done. See another uh, short cutaway of another person, one or two, three things that is cut, and like so, it won't allow them to speak much because of the time. Maybe the main person who is the focus of the event, the governor, would speak elaborately, maybe more than the others. Some may just speak for a few seconds, and maybe the governor's speech may be more seconds than the others, and then you get the speech, in some ways. So that is how uh, obtaining stories from multiple angles in a single event can be done. Now, the reason why this is very important in journalism is because it helps to inform the audience of certain things that were not really the focus of the occasion, because certain persons will go to a particular occasion, and what they will do will not, they will use that opportunity, they will use that occasion to deliver a message, but what they will deliver will not necessarily be for the celebrant or because for the occasion. A dignitary or personality may attend an event of, like I said, an appointee of the governor celebrating his appointment, maybe Thanksgiving, and then a personality or a dignitary can attend that event and then decide to support orphans and say, by coming to this event, I will be donating a particular amount to help orphans in the community, in the area. Now, the donation is not to the celebrant. The donation is to vulnerable people in the community. Now, the person used that activity to do something different. The person will commend the celebrant and say, well, I'm here in the celebrant's community, and I've decided to support orphans, support youth, to support uh, the less privileged. You understand? Now, the support is not given to the celebrant, but the celebrant is the cause of that support. So, a story can be done in that aspect where it will be given out, where it will be packaged, and it will really make significant impact. It will really make people to cherish and see the importance of philanthropy. So certain stories are important. You won't just say, well, because he came and they didn't give that to the celebrant, so there's no need to capture in the story. That's what some reporters do. They leave a lot of things out of their report, even if uh, you're not going to do multiple stories from the event. You can make a single report and still include some pertinent issues in your story. Someone makes a donation of that nature, you can reflect it in the story. if it's not going to be a story of its own. If someone says something that you feel to be important to the public, can include it to form part of that. That in the Thanksgiving mass or at the reception, a particular person admonishes people to do this, or that says this, this encourages people, appeals to that. You say donate this, understand? So you do it like that to actually appreciate what the people are doing, to add value to democracy, to add value to philanthropy, to add value to community development. That will encourage others to do same, others to also know that there are people who are out there doing this. So it's a challenge if I don't do it, or if we don't do it, when people will feel that they don't have the cloth are actually doing that. So it will be very important to take note of these things so that your story will have a impactful trajectory. When a story has very impactful trajectory, it's elicit happiness from the audience. It makes them to be happy and would want to stick to that media platform. Just like I said before, media creativity and innovative display is very important. Creativity is what makes people. It what creativity is what make people, the audience, what make the audience to actually fall in love with a particular media platform. When there is creativity, it makes them to actually see need to make such a media platform as one of their best. So they keep on going, clicking or tuning in to watch or listen to news based on how certain activities are being presented in a creative way that would bring their interest. So it is very, very important to take note of these things so that you can be able to function effectively in the course of exercising your duties as reporters. So you should put these things to practice. Just like I have said before, and I'm still saying again, whenever a session is completed, try to do something. Even if it is not forwarded to Trippies Media, you will be developing yourself for the task ahead, because in the end, only the best will go far. The issue of journalism is not the issue of bias. If you don't know, you don't know. And no media organization want to bring an incompetent hands to be there, because you need to be productive. You need to do something creative. You need to work. Because if you don't know how to do this thing, who will send you to the field? Who will employ you? That is the reason you see there are certain professions that even if your brother is the owner, your brother or your father will be handicapped because you don't have the capacity to deliver. And it is something that is not sitting in the office and moving files here and there that anybody can do, or signing or stamping on documents. This is a practical oriented work that you need to move, interview people, organize programs, talk and edit and do all that. So there's no room for error, because the moment there are errors, then the station will be demarcated, you know. And then once there is that happening, demarketing can make the station not to sell. People will not want to even advertise on the media platform. People don't want to do a business with the media platform because they see that the reporters are not efficient. They don't have the efficiency. They don't have the profundity of the job, of the work required. that they do things contrary to what is expected of them. So in that regard, the station we actually be losing, or we actually lose out, because when there is no uh, patronage, where there's less audience, or when the audience is not much, it affects the the station in terms of making profits, getting adverts, and all that. So you are the ambassadors of Three Piece Media, and by being ambassadors means you must be a true reflection of what Three Piece Media stands for. So by doing that means you must allow the inculcation of the values, professional values, ethical values, that would be able to propel you to the frontiers of exploring more and delivering effectively in the course of your duties, so that the best can be done, the best can be achieved, and the name of Three Piece Media will be taken to unprecedented height, because people want good things. They want platforms where they will be able to see that what they expect, their quest, is being actually satisfied. They have that satisfaction watching certain things on certain platform. They have that satisfaction of doing certain things as a result of the platforms that offered such to them. So it is important to be extremely productive, so that you will be able to protect the name of Trippis Media. You will be able to be more professional in the course of your duties, and the best will be brought forth for Trippis Media to go places. Thank you, and remain blessed. See you again on Saturday.